It was a cold, quiet night in the small town of Moscow, Idaho. A place known more for its peaceful streets and college students than for crime. But everything changed in the early hours of November 13, 2022. Inside a small off-campus home, 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally murdered in their sleep.
These bright young lives, these kids with so much promise, and evil had come stalking them in their house in the middle of the night.
Maddie, Ethan, Kaylee, and Zaina. These beautiful, smiling faces. These young people's lives played out on social media.
Carnage so severe, photos appear to show blood seeping from the crime scene.
The town froze. Parents clutched their children closer.
How can you be out there playing? My daughter's dead. You know, Kaylee Gonzalez is gone. Stop everything. Everybody in the whole world, stop.
Students left campus in fear. Who could have done something so horrific? For weeks, there were no answers. No murder weapon, no clear suspect. Only fear, grief, and a growing sense that anyone could be next. Then, the name Bryan Kohberger surfaced. A quiet PhD student studying criminology. No one expected him.
Bryan Kohberger, the Monroe County native, who's accused of stabbing and killing 4 University of Idaho students to death.
But investigators believed he held the answers to a crime that stunned the nation. The night of the murders. November 13th began like any other Saturday. The 4 victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, spent the evening with friends. They laughed, danced, and by 2 a.m., they were back home. By morning, they were gone. Their surviving roommates found the scene and called 911. Police arrived to what they later described as chilling and gruesome. No forced entry, no cries for help, no clear clues. It seemed impossible that such violence had taken place while others in the house slept. The community erupted with fear. Rumors spread. Campus security tightened. Many students left town early. Police admitted they had no suspects. Then, quietly, investigators discovered a key piece of evidence. A tan leather knife sheath left behind at the scene. Who was Bryan Kohberger? At first, his name meant nothing in Moscow. Bryan wasn't a University of Idaho student. He wasn't known to the victims, but he lived only a short drive away.
Where are you headed?
Bryan was 28, studying criminology at Washington State University. Classmates described him as quiet, focused, and deeply fascinated with criminal psychology. Some thought his interest ran uncomfortably deep. Growing up, he had struggled with social anxiety and weight issues, later transforming himself through fitness and strict veganism. Online, under anonymous posts, he described feeling disconnected from the world and plagued by dark thoughts. He had no criminal record, no violent past, but his detailed knowledge of how crimes were committed and solved suggested he may have believed he could outsmart investigators. The investigation. For weeks, detectives worked quietly. Their first lead was a white Hyundai Elantra, caught on nearby surveillance cameras around 4 a.m. on the night of the murders. It was later linked to Bryan. At the same time, the knife sheath provided a crucial clue. On it was male DNA that didn't match anyone in the national database, but it gave investigators a starting point. Then came the cell phone data. Police studied tower records and noticed a phone that had been near the victim's house several times before the murders. That phone belonged to Bryan Kohberger. Still, suspicion wasn't proof, so investigators waited. In December, Bryan drove cross-country with his father to Pennsylvania for the holidays. FBI agents followed. Once he arrived, they collected trash from his family's home. DNA tests confirmed the match between Bryan's family and the crime scene sample. On December 30th, 2022, police stormed the Kohberger home in Pennsylvania. Bryan was arrested without resistance. The criminology student who studied how crimes were solved had become the focus of one of the most chilling investigations in years. The arrest and reaction news of his arrest stunned the nation. How could a student of criminology, someone devoted to studying crime, be accused of committing such brutality? Neighbors watched in shock as officers led him out in handcuffs. Photos from his court appearances dominated the media. Commentators and crime experts debated his motives. Some saw him as a calculated predator. Others warned against quick judgment. For the victims' families, the arrest brought both relief and heartbreak. After weeks of silence, they finally had a name. Candlelight vigils lit up the University of Idaho campus. Flowers, candles, and letters covered the victims' home. Each message a reminder that their lives would not be forgotten. In court, Bryan was calm, almost detached. He gave no confession, no apology. His defense team insisted he was innocent, challenging the DNA evidence and investigative methods. Where the case stands. Bryan Kohberger now faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. The trial has not yet begun and has already been delayed multiple times. Legal experts predict it could be one of the most closely watched trials in recent history. His lawyers continue to challenge the evidence, particularly the genetic genealogy used to connect his DNA. Many court documents remain sealed, leaving the public with unanswered questions. The judge entered a not guilty plea on Bryan's behalf. Until the trial begins, the families of Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan endure a painful wait. They want justice, but more than anything, they want the world to remember who was lost, not just the man accused of taking them away. For Moscow, Idaho, the fear still lingers. Residents lock their doors more carefully. Students remain cautious. A town once known for peace is now marked by tragedy. The story of the Moscow murders is about more than one night or one man. It's about how quickly safety can vanish and how darkness can hide in plain sight. A criminology student who once studied how criminals think may have crossed the line into becoming the very evil he analyzed. Whether Bryan Kohberger is found guilty or not, the scars left on the victims' families, the university, and the town will never heal completely. 4 young lives, Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan, were stolen in an instant, and their memory now fuels the pursuit of justice. If this story disturbed you but you believe it is important to tell, consider subscribing to the channel. We cover true cases that reveal the darkest corners of human behavior and remind us why truth and justice matter. Comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe the whole truth has been uncovered, or is there more still hidden? Thank you for watching, and remember, even in the quietest towns, on the calmest nights, evil can sometimes slip through the cracks.